Welcome to Ridiculous. I hope you're doing well wherever you're in the world. I hope you're living your best life. I apologize if I start to ramble, but I feel like a complete mess right now. I've just been going over everything that's happened again and again. I've been married to my husband for just over 15 years now. I met him when I was 19 and he was 20. I was his first girlfriend and he was my first boyfriend. We were both fairly introverted at the time, so when we first met each other, we just clicked. We had the same interest and the same views. I remember thinking that we were perfect for each other in those years. We got married 3 years later. I got a job in a small computing firm. He got a job as a marriage counselor. We saved enough money to buy our own house soon after. We had arguments and problems like any couple, but nothing too serious. My husband is a logistical and calm person, so we could easily work out our problems peacefully. So everything was fine for the first 5 years of our relationship. We then decided that we wanted a baby since we were financially and emotionally ready. After just under a year of trying, I was pregnant. I had to eventually leave my job, which wasn't an issue for me. I gave birth to a baby girl without any complications. I was a completely different person. My husband supported me during all of this, told me he understood that I was going through changes and that he was willing to be patient. I was genuinely content with being a stay-at-home mom for my daughter. I remember that since I was out of work, the bills started overwhelming us. My mother would come over every day and look after my daughter while I got a part-time job back at the computer firm. I began to take everything for granted next. I became friends with a male coworker who was a year younger than me. Of course, we became too close. I don't have any excuse for why I did it, only that I feel disappointed that I lost control of my emotions like this. We began a year-long emotional affair, then a physical affair soon after. My coworker would email me at work and at home. At the time, I thought that they were fairly casual, like only friendly, nothing sexual. So I didn't really put much notice into them. I now realize that we had gotten too close and crossed the line through those emails. They only became sexual last month. When I read them, I just thought that he was being an idiot. I was the idiot. He also told me that he was leaving the country in April for a better job. So last month, we were alone in one of the locked offices. Our affair became a physical affair. I wasn't 100% willing to have sex, but I didn't try to stop him either. I didn't move. My husband, being both a marriage counselor and adept at noticing people's signals, had suspicions for a long time. 4 days ago, he confronted me with proof. I'm currently staying at my parents' house with my daughter, and my husband is back at home. We have stayed in contact, but he is only willing to speak to my daughter and my parents. The man I married works hard, is supportive, communicative, kind, loyal, and completely unselfish, and I threw it all in his face. The last time I saw him, he was crying, shaking, pale, and unable to speak. I can't get the image out of my head. My parents have been supportive, but I know they are disappointed in me. I don't know what to say to my daughter. I tell her that it isn't her father's fault, but I can't think of anything else to say. I still go to work, but completely avoid the male coworker. I bottle everything up at work, then I go home and turn into an emotional mess. I don't want to lose my husband or my marriage, but I know there is a very large chance that I will. He has told me that infidelity is one thing that he won't forgive, mostly because of the abusive actions of his father and because of the number of repeat cases he has had at his job. I've been speaking with my parents all day and they brought up many good points. I've decided to call my boss tomorrow and quit my job ASAP. I ended the affair as soon as my husband found out. I think his reaction snapped me out of the affair fog far faster than it should have. I've also removed my coworker from all my contact lists. While I do still feel some attraction to him, I also feel equally repulsed. My parents printed off a list of counselors yesterday. I plan on visiting a few over the next few days to find one that is right for me. My husband and I have agreed to provide as much support as we can for our daughter. We have no intentions of turning her against each other. I've tried to control my emotions around her, but it is just so difficult. We've tried our best to hide the entire situation from her, but she is a smart girl. I think she has inherited her father's intuition. I know that my husband completely despises his father's actions, which led to his mother's suicide. I can understand why he would react the way he has. I can't believe that I would ever hurt my husband like this. I knew what the consequences of having an affair were, yet I did it anyway. I realized that it was immature and selfish, and that I have no excuse. I fully intend to work out my own issues so that I will never hurt my husband again. I am willing to do anything in order to show my husband that I love him. I know that talk is cheap and that he may never forgive me, but I want him to know that I am genuinely remorseful for my actions. I feel so lost. I don't know how to deal with this. I love my husband and I betrayed him completely. What can I do? J Express said, regret? Those excuses are pure BS, and you know it. Every excuse you just threw out pales in comparison to your allowing the other guy to enter your body. Why didn't you do something when he locked the door? You knew right then and there this was going to be physical. You certainly could have resisted at that point. You went and had sex with this guy when he said he was going away. What, was this his farewell party with you as the prize? Your excuses will not fly. They all have holes in them. Cannon said, he's broken. He will never be right again. In the words of Ving Rhames, if he takes you back, the last thing he sees before falling asleep will be the worst thing his mind can concoct you and the other man were doing. This never ends. Every time you do anything even remotely suspicious, he will assume that it is because you are either with the other guy or some new guy. Every time you express any kind of joy or happiness, he will assume it is because of something the other guy did. Some days, we'll call them good days. He will feel a dull ache in his heart because of the betrayal he's feeling. On other days that are not so good, he will understand what his mother went through and will seriously contemplate following her lead. You will want to worry about bad days. The best part is that this never changes. He will lose respect for himself as a man, both for allowing your affair to even happen and for forgiving you. In his mind, he will have forgiven you because he isn't worth anything better than the love of someone who has better but settled. He will be prone to fits of anger or depression. He might kick around the idea of having a revenge affair, only to realize that he is repulsed by what he will have become. He might take up drinking just to numb the pain he will feel for the rest of his life. In the absolute best of circumstances, he will live out the rest of his life reliving in his mind's eye the year you were having an affair, trying to see if there's some place where he can pinpoint where his life went wrong. Do whatever you think is right, but I want you to understand what he will not be able to convey to you. I want you to understand the full measure of your decisions and the ramifications they have already had on your husband. Memphis said, first off, if you truly loved your husband, you wouldn't have cheated. Secondly, what can you do? First off, quit your job. You want another job? Then go find one, but you quit this one. But then again, there will be men at the job too, so not much to make your husband feel good there, with the exception of you will be leaving the job where the other man is. What else? You become an open book. He gets all your passwords to emails, access your phone, you leave it out in plain sight, no hiding it or taking it to the bathroom with you. You leave it where if anyone calls, he could see it if he wants to. You also pretty much put yourself on house arrest. I don't mean this fully, but there's something saying that. In other words, you don't do anything that has a more conducive environment to help you cheat. Sure, you can cheat anyway, but why do things with a higher risk of it? So basically, if there are girls' nights out, don't think that he's going to be all comfortable with it. You need to decide, What's more important, your husband and family or acting like a hormonal 16-year-old? And the thing that I wouldn't feel good about is, unless you gave him the choice because of his job or yours, is that you took your daughter with you, basically away from him. Shouldn't he get to have his daughter right now since it's you that cheated? What is it about cheaters that cheat, then take the kids away from their spouse? John Michael said, "We're not stupid, don't play the innocent card."